Hey Apollyon, this is Blue04, and I wanted to run through your stage today as part of OLDC voting. Let's get started. So I've actually, seen you post GIFs of this stage over in the mapping channel on the community server, so it's not completely new to me. The intro reminds me a little bit of Greenflower 1, which is not a bad thing at all. Greenflower 1's intro is pretty cool. So, one of my impressions that I had when I was first looking at your stage over on the community server was that it seems like this texture set, whoa, what am I looking at? Whoa, okay, we'll get to this in a bit. But one of my thoughts was that it looked like this is just Greenflower Zone wall, but just using different patches. I think it's pretty successful. I think the color scheme works well here. The gold of the walls is just really good. The grass texture on the floor I'm not super into. I think the edging on the edge of the platforms, I think that's cool. I think that works well. But I need to figure out how to get out of here. A Flicky is following me. I think the green color and the gold color, I think they work well together, but I do think you really, really need a different floor texture here. I don't think this works. And I think I really do like the way that this grass kind of comes up a little bit. It really helps to articulate the edge from when you're looking out. Because I feel like the Greenflower Zone grass texture when you're standing on a platform looking outward, I don't think it articulates the edge very well, and so I think this is more successful. In terms of your skybox, I think your sky is too low. I would actually raise this up a bit. I'm getting this, weird sense of, it feels like the room is really, really small looking up at this. I expect the clouds to be a lot higher, so I would definitely look into tweaking your skybox. Okay, it looks like this is a path split. That's cool. Oh, and another thing I'm noticing, let me go back a little bit and I'll turn into Nox. Yeah, I know, I turned off emblems. So when you have a dynamic Thok barrier that changes height like this, it's kind of weird because when you're around here looking around the corner, the entire world just disappears. And one of my things that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to understand stages spatially in terms of how they work, and the way that this line of sight just totally gets cut is kind of... It makes me feel like I'm not in a larger sense of space, right? I want to be able to see the place that I'm going to next, and right now I can't. And, right here, it's pretty similar in terms of this is a Thok barrier, and well, maybe this isn't a Thok barrier. But this is a Thok barrier, and I just can't see over it, and I feel like I want to. So... yeah, let's get back to where we were. Oh, and the water effect was a nice touch, by the way. Sound effects are really important for me in terms of stage design. These rings appear to not be floating. Thought you'd like to know. Okay, and then am I just... yeah, got it. Oh, 2D section. Okay, and then just real quick, so this is your Thok barrier, right? And so your Thok barrier pulls the walls down to a certain extent. But when you have an adjacent sector that's not a Thok barrier, you get this wall that stretches up to your ceiling. There's two ways that you can fix that. The one way is to just take the ceiling of this sector and pull it down so that it matches the height of your Thok barrier. At that point, you don't need a Thok barrier. And then the other thing you can do, and this is something that I did in 109.4 a lot, you can kind of just cut a small, teeny tiny sector right here, and then pull the ceiling down to match the height of the Thok barrier. That's a little bit... it's kind of weird in terms of, like, if somebody tries to bump into it up there, they're like, why is this, like, there's this triangle worth of space up here that you just can't get to, and that's weird. But this is definitely something that, like, if you wanted to make your map a little bit more professional, you could clean this up. Maybe I should just start doing my level criticisms as Knuckles so that I don't have to, like, change characters in the middle and, like, break my save data. Okay, that's weird. So I can spin under the rings. Got it. Yeah, and I'm horrible as a player because I just kind of, like, go back and forth and I pace. I don't know why. I'm a little bit obsessive and I just want to, like, kill everything and get every ring and be a completionist. So. Okay, this looks like a secret. I'll come back here later. Because I need to play the other route first. Where did this come from? Okay, I need to go take the other route. But not right now. Whee! Aw, that didn't work. Okay. So, alright. That was one route. Let's try the other. And for kicks, I'm gonna go play the other route as Amy. Okay. Alright, so I went and I did... Okay, so this is the route that I need to do. Erp. 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 Oh great, I'm not using Amy control. I need to fix that before I play grabs the stage. Okay, this is a Knuckles route? Question mark? I'm totally going through this backward. Okay, Mr. Knuckles, how did you get in here? Oh, that was just a spin bustable block. Got it. Got it. Nope. Autocompletes are not working. Got it. Okay. Okay. Okay, how do I get up? This is Amy. Okay, yeah, so one of the things that Amy, like, so Amy has a jump height of 128 units, which Sonic can't do. So one of my thoughts might be that you, like, could have this 128 high block just right here, and then Amy jumps up that 128 high block, and then there's a spring. That's a pretty simple, easy solution that is something Sonic can't use and wouldn't even see. And there's a life. Where am I going? Okay. Oh, so, okay, so this is the high route, but the high route only leads to some life boxes. Got it. So one of the things that might be cool, right? Because I get that this is the low route, but it might be cool that the high route actually continues on to another high route. And, you know, and that's fine. If you fail the high route, then you can't get back, then that's totally reasonable. But yeah, I just felt like if you're going to make the high route something, then I feel like I want to be rewarded by being able to continue onward in the stage in that direction. And then after this, I get to try the secret. And then who knows whether I'll like the secret or not. So, alright, and now I get to go... I got a perfect bonus? How did I get a perfect bonus? Oh, that's how I got a perfect bonus. Got it. That is just because I'm playing with my HUD. Okay. Alright, let's just blaze through this. So, a little bit of an explanation on terms of why I got the perfect bonus right there. So what happens is my heads-up display gives me infinite lives. So when I have infinite lives, whenever I get a life box, I get 100 rings instead. And so the perfect ring bonus was actually just checking, did I have a certain amount of rings, and was that count of rings equal to how many I need for the perfect bonus? And I guess the game automatically calculates that. And so that wasn't... So that I didn't actually get a perfect bonus. Of course they're not. I just don't. That's just not something I care about as a player. But that was what was going on. My HUD, every time I got a life box, I was getting an extra 100 rings, right? So in this stage, I've collected 20 rings and a life box, which is how I'm at 120 rings. So this and while I'm thinking about it, this kind of the way that this sort of path ends and sort of turns into a spring. This is pretty inelegant. I feel like if you're right, I get it. You need to use a spring in order to get up to the high route, but it might be better to like sort of accentuate that somehow. I think of this idea of like a spring pad, which is basically the idea you take a square sector, you raise it up, you use some kind of blocky texture on it to offset it from the surrounding grass, so that the spring is sort of accentuated and declared by the stage geometry around it. Okay. Secret time. Oh! Wow, it's SRB1. Yeah, I totally don't remember if you were one of the... Oh. I totally don't remember if you were one of the people working on the SRB1 remake project. I mean, my assumption is that you were. Okay. Let's go back and find the secret inside the secret. Okay, so this is just a texture. Got it. Okay. All right, so let's come back to the stage from the beginning and let me give you a few more holistic thoughts. So Apollyon, my thinking is, so basically I feel like this is baseline in terms of you're working with a good sense of scale, you understand something about texturing, and you've got a color aesthetic that works fairly well, and and this is a gimmick, and you use it sometimes, but you haven't really explored what the gimmick can do in terms of how players interact with your stage using it. But I think that this is very... I think that this gets a lot of fundamentals right. I mean, not all of them, but, you know, it takes time and practice. You know, and I guess I didn't really pay attention to this bridge when I was going through the other path. But I think that this is... It's basic, but it's good. I think that in some ways, there's some, like, as I'm looking at this, there's some pieces that are like, you're displaying extreme technical competence in some areas in terms of, you can make a skybox and the skybox works. And you can make sloped FOFs, and I haven't looked into that yet, right? And you've got the sloped arches, you've got the sloped waterfalls. Those are all things that, like, sloped FOFs kind of intimidate me, and I haven't actually made a skybox of my own yet. And in this moment here, where you see the bridge from the other path, I think that might be easier to notice if the bridge was offset by a different texture. But I think this is a cool moment. And the tall vertical space that you've created here with this, I personally like that. I think that, you know, if you keep mapping into the future, I think at this point you get to focus on the fun stuff. The fun stuff meaning, you know, well, one question is, how do you do decoration, right? How do you, because you've got a texture that's good, but you're using it everywhere. And maybe there's this question of, you use like 2 or 3 or 4 different kinds of wall textures, and you pick a different wall texture for particular reasons. And why do you pick a different texture, and which texture do you use, and where is an interesting question to learn. And how do you do geometry? How do you do decoration with sectors? Because you're using decoration with flowers, which is great, but you need to do decoration with sectors as well. And then there's some interesting things with path structure. Right now, you've just kind of got, you know, a pretty simple split into, you know, just a left and right path, which is fine, but maybe, you know, it might be interesting to think about, you know, like a more open stage where you have an upper and lower path. You know, which, I mean, this totally could have become that, but it just wasn't something that you chose to do here, which is fine. And I just think that everything from here on out, basically, in order to grow as a mapper, you're going to need to look at other people's stages and learn how to ask specific questions about, why are they doing this? Why is this here? Why is this functionality there? Because I think everything that you've learned so far is the easy stuff. Everything that you have left to learn as a mapper is just the hard stuff. So go look at other people's maps and ask hard questions, because that's how you're going to grow and that's how you're going to learn. Like, this is good, but you can do better, basically. So, all right. I'll see you on the community server.